And we are back here once again. I'm Cole Xner McHenry. I'm here with another episode of Fireside Chats, and this time I'm joined here by the one and only Indiana native there, CoJoMo. Looking forward to chatting with you, man. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good today, man. Glad to be here. So excited to talk with you and, you know, see what's up. See what's up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I want to start off, obviously, by just kind of going through your kind of history as a CS player. First off, I just want to say I was pretty impressed. I was going through your history, and a lot of players, they're spending season after season in open. You got to get the first groundworks, but I feel like
Yeah.
you were able to pretty much level up very quickly. I mean, literally in your first season, I think you made it to IM, if I'm not mistaken. So, talk me through how like your early career went, and how you basically were able to get to your phase.
So when I first got into Counter-Strike, I didn't have anybody teaching me. I wasn't learning from anyone, let alone siblings, cousins, none of that. So I spent a lot of time playing matchmaking and playing, Face It, ESEA, Pugs. So I kind of developed my skills and as a player before I ever even tried to touch League because I didn't know better,
Yeah.
right? So when I finally did get into Open, I was kind of already had my basics down, all that kind of stuff, and I got really lucky and had some solid teammates that were in the same boat as me, where they were definitely more skilled than what they
Yeah.
look like on surface. So to be honest, I was able to progress a lot faster because of the. I was probably the worst player on the team when I first joined. Like for my first teams I joined, I was the worst player, which is very beneficial as a player because that's when you learn the most. It's when you're probably like the least experienced worst player. So yeah, I mean it's a combination of getting lucky and then also just putting in thousands of hours before I even knew what Team CS was.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely underrated. That's pretty similar to like how a lot of good players get their positions very quick. It's being that worst player on the team.
Yeah.
So I mean, talk me through like who has taught you the most and kind of leveling up your playing career so far.
I mean, to be honest, it's a combination. I learned different stuff from every player. One of my things as just personally, not even just Counter-Strike, but real life too, is I try to learn as much as I can from people that are either older than me or more experienced, better. So, I mean, man, like just any teammates I've ever had that, have more experience or older than me. Like right now, it's not early on, but right now on my team, my IGL MDS, he's 30 years old. So I'm constantly asking him for life advice and stuff because that stuff translates into CS. So I don't know about early on in my career who I learned from the most, but right now I learned the most from one of the players that I have more experience than, just because he has much more life experience than me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just a combination though. Lots of players. I can't even tell you specifically anybody.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, obviously, you got a lot of teams that you've played with growing up there. So,
Yep.
I kind of want to talk a little bit about like what it was like, learning wise when it comes to playing and a lot of like the local NA lands, because I feel like you're one of the players that's more experienced in that department. Again, when you talk about like land CS, it feels like that's always opportunity to grow a lot closer with not only like teams, but you get to meet new players and stuff. So, I mean, just kind of extending forward there, do you feel like that's attributed like a lot of your career success to what you were able to do on those lands?
Yeah, I mean, man, I think that just gave me more passion to play and kind of showed myself the future that I can have. Like I want to play in these lands. I want to play in these events because, like you said, it's just a great opportunity to connect with people and really see who they are behind the screen. It's so easy to make judgments and to, see this username or see this person online and you think you don't know them. You don't know them.
Yeah.
It's someone that you think you know. Man, when you get to see them in real life, you really understand who they are on that personal level. And it's, much better than making judgments on who someone is online because it's so much better to get that personal feeling. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I've grown a lot from playing at these lands. And, even though I haven't won as many as I might have wanted to, but it's just been an awesome experience to get to travel and, do that. It's just awesome, man.
Yeah. I mean, following up off that point, obviously, I think I looked through you, and you haven't fully gotten that first place prize on land yet, but you have gotten like multiple seasons of league victories underneath your belt, which I think is super impressive, right? Because those league seasons are very long. The playoff seasons are very like tenuous. Like you have to play a lot of series, you have to win a lot of series. It's pretty cutthroat, especially when it comes to main. I believe like double elimination in some of those events, but either way, like talk to me about what it feels like to actually like win a league season with multiple teams.
All right. Well, first I have won one LAN. I have, but it was
Okay,
a very small one. It was a
let it
very
go.
small one.
Which one was it?
It was a Columbus LAN, I
Oh,
believe.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Or,
I saw the Twitter post for it. I didn't see it on
yeah.
Wikipedia,
Yeah.
so maybe it wasn't there. But
Yeah. But
no,
either
no,
way,
no, no. It's
no.
good to get that out there. Yeah,
But either way, no, I mean, man, it comes down to my kind of philosophy as a player too. From just growing up in competitive sports and stuff too, like I understand how important it is to be consistent through the whole season. And if you look at my player history and a lot of stuff, I like to stick with teams. Like I really do. Like I really like to try my best to stay on rosters for long term because that's what's going to build success, and that's what's going to carry you through a long season. There's been teams where I'm on where we have a season where we absolutely fail. We don't do good. And it's really easy to just jump ship and try to find your next best opportunity, but that's not going to build you. That's not going to build your skills, your team character, whatever you want to call it, through the long run. If you're on a team where you can look at your day-to-day results and make it so that you're taking those results and making it build up towards a bigger picture, that's where you're going to find success in the late season. Because to be honest with you, regular season for at least ESEA playoffs or ESEA league, it's so much different than playoffs, right? It's almost like a new season starts because you're playing best of ones, best of ones,
yeah.
best of ones. The best team doesn't always win, but if you can keep building yourself up, those best of threes are where it really matters, and that's why you see a lot of upsets. And yeah, it's a grind, man. It's a grind. But if you can be with four other guys that can put in that time and dedication, you're gonna be set.
Yeah, so I kind of want to follow up off that. Like, obviously, like you mentioned there, failure is something that I think a lot of league players struggle with, especially when it comes to like North America, keeping same teams, keeping similar rosters and things along those lines. Especially when it comes to league, like you said, it's long seasons. So if you kind of fail at an early stage in playoffs, I feel like that's where a lot of disruption comes in. Would you say like that's something that you've been able to avoid, or how have you personally been able to deal with that for the most part?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, like for me, it's just important for me that I surround myself with people that I know they're giving it their all. I know they're doing everything they can, and they're playing for the team. So I've been fortunate enough to, I've been very lucky with the teams I've been on, and the progression I've made so far, that I have that teammates that share that very similar mindset and goal. But like for me, it just doesn't make sense that if I'm working so hard with people and I'm trying so hard to just like I said, jump ship when we lose that first hurdle, when we can't get past that first hurdle. And I know it's easy. Like I know in the mind it's very easy to just make those choices and think the pasture's always greener on the other side. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for me though, I kind of just have always wanted to stick through it. I think that's more fun. That's more good than just resetting every time you come across a barrier. To me, that's just not the mindset I want to have.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense. I mean, you're also talking a little bit earlier about your history in like real life sports, which I think is something that's very valuable. Obviously, it'll teach you not to quit mid season. That's something like that's been ingrained if you play like real sports. So, I think that's something that's interesting for a lot of people. If you kind of come from that background, do you think that's kind of been a big motivator for you as well?
100%, man. If you come from a sports background, dude, you have such an advantage. Like seriously, if any of you out there are trying to get into CS leagues or anything like that, your competitive sports background is going to translate more than you think into that. It's so valuable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially dealing with like coaches and stuff like that,
Right.
It gives you so much input for sure. So, just an interesting parallel there. Kind of talking forward, I kind of want to continue with what we were talking about when it comes to like your success online and in leagues. Eventually, you were able to close out a season of advance. I think like 43 or something along those lines, and make it into what is like I think a big goal for a lot of NA players, making it into ECL, which is a big deal. And when you were finally able to achieve that, talk me through, what it felt like to be a team moving into this league where a lot of experienced players were who you were going to be up against, and obviously the challenges that you faced there.
Yeah, dude, it's brutal. That is literally the goal that most players in NA strive for. That is literally, like you said, the goal. So I think for me, I fell into the trap of that's been my goal for my whole career up to that point.
Yeah.
And then I got there, right? And my teammates too. None of us had a single season of ECL or Premier, whatever it was called back then.
Yeah.
We fell for the trap of being kind of complacent then, right? Like, or being intimidated. You work towards this goal, you work towards it, and you finally hit it, and then you think you've made it. Like, but no, you kind of get your eyes open because then you realize how brutal it
Yeah.
is, how
Yeah, it's
you're
only the
just at the
beginning.
yeah bottom of the ladder still, right? And that's anything in life, right? Like you get that promotion for your job and then you're like, oh man, now I want to go up there. Now
Yeah.
it's never enough. So it kind of opened my eyes to truly how much work you need to put in, and really the difference between these teams like Pain, MIBR. Man, we got like we got destroyed by them. Like it was brutal, and it's just if you're not able to get through those ups and downs and look at the big picture, you're really gonna struggle. So I think that first season was an eye opener for that.
Yeah, I mean, moving past that, like, what was the big motivation there? I mean, were you able to look forward to like bigger and better things? I mean, obviously, again, there were some like rocky changes during that season as well, which made things a little bit difficult. So talk me through how you guys were able to overcome it, or how you as a player personally were able to overcome some of that adversity there.
Yeah, so I mean, when we got relegated that first season from ECL, man, like it sucked. It really did. Like it's not a good feeling at all. But once you're able to get past that, we kind of were able to put our head down and, man, we're back in advance, right? You're back in the division that you just came out of. So you kind of, it's bad, but you kind of get that ego in a way, which
Mhm.
actually turns out to be good because you've got experience now. Like you know you're capable of going back up, so it makes games a lot easier, not only for yourself because other teams that you're playing are now looking at you like, oh, these guys were in ECL last season, they must be better. It's just the human nature. It's like, you compare yourself against other people. So to be honest, it's why you see a lot of gatekeeping, like as
Yeah.
far as like teams like Mythic and stuff. It's just because in their mind they think that they're better than the advanced team that they're playing in maybe relegation, and then the team that they're playing, they're looking at Mythic like they're better. So it's like it's constantly that battle. So when we went back to advance, I noticed like teams played against us a lot differently. Like it was so much easier. And truly that season, the only team that really challenged us was that Limitless roster. And they almost ended up beating us, but we ended up securing it and winning advance in first place. But yeah, it's good. You keep climbing that ladder and you get that experience, but also just that title that makes you more intimidating and more, I guess, better. But even though it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely get you. I mean, it's one of those things where people talk about if they can win, now they know that they can,
Right.
basically. So,
Mhm.
so it's a big factor there that I think a lot of teams can really benefit from. Just moving forward here. I mean, you're about to do it again for another season, right? You got the call up, you got the move up, for another season of ECL. So, are you prepared? Are you kind of with some of these players, maybe even just being like you said at the beginning of the interview, being newer to ECL, are you prepared to kind of walk them through what that's going to be like?
Yeah, man. So with my mentality of I want to learn as much as possible from players that are more experienced and better than me, now I get to have that role as far as like experience wise in this league. I won advance with DU the season prior, before I joined my team now.
Yeah,
But obviously I didn't play ECL, but I was in ECL that season, and I got that experience. I know now the mistakes that I made, and I've made it so clear, like oh, like I have this knowledge that I'm gonna help my guys, and it's gonna be a battle. It is, but I'm not. I'm gonna make sure they don't fall into the same trap I fell into, because for them too, that was their goal. That really was. Is I want to
yeah,
make ECL. I really do. I've been at this close so long, but I'm making sure that they're not gonna fall for that same trap I did, because it's easy. It is easy. So they're gonna put in even more work than they ever have, and I'm gonna make sure that I help them along the way. And of course, they're gonna continue helping me, but I have that little extra knowledge now that's going to help us out more than the first season I made it with Davenport.
yeah, for sure. And talking through some of your like new endeavors, you've also got a international land. I believe this would be your first international land as well. So, very
Yeah,
cool opportunity. I guess you did one in Canada,
can't,
right?
yeah,
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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, I mean that's fair. There's still
yeah.
that going for you. But talk me through what it was like to qualify for this event and
Well, with the caveat, we didn't qualify. We were
okay.
fortunate enough to be the replacement team, the filler team, because Party Astronauts, they were actually the replacement team
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And it was kind of just a long string of events. And with the deadline closing in, I got lucky enough to be given the opportunity to represent Team USA with
Yeah.
the Detonate squad. So four of them, and I get to be the opera on that team, play my role. And man, I'm so excited, and I understand, like, we didn't qualify for it, but
Yeah.
you know I've seen it with, I've had teams that get put into ECL because you need to put yourself in the right place at the right time in life. It's with anything, right? Like sometimes you're gonna be lucky, sometimes you're not gonna be lucky. But I know without a doubt, like I'm putting in more work than I ever have. I'm increasing, my potential, my skill as a player, just and just as a person too, man. Like I'm so excited to do this because it's gonna be a great experience for me, and I know a lot of the guys on the team are so excited to play because we're gonna be, exploring the city, the country. We're
Yeah.
gonna be playing as many scrims as we can, hopefully, against European teams. We're gonna be pugging a lot. We're gonna be just, getting as much experience. It's just so important, that experience, man. We're gonna be trying to better ourselves as much as possible. So, yeah, it's exciting that it's happening.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, just like talking through. I watched your video on the opportunity, and I was
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing if you were able to make any good contacts there. And yeah,
Yeah.
how's that whole process been going of like trying to prepare yourself for this event?
Oh, dude, it's been great. Like, not only have I been trying to prepare myself, like, in the game, obviously, bro, but like, I have been working so hard on like my physical, my diet, like all that stuff, just because I want to be proud of like who I am, and obviously, like with the opportunity to like represent the country, like, bro,
Yeah.
I want to be my best. So no, I've definitely like grown a lot, even in these weeks, let alone months and so on. But yeah, man, like it just gives me purpose. It gives me an opportunity to truly like, give my all and look forward to something. So I'm more than thrilled to do that.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing how you
Mm.
guys are able to do there. I'm looking forward to seeing some of that content,
Oh yeah.
which kind of transitions me into kind of the second phase of this interview, and that's talking content, especially around CS:GO, something that you are very familiar with. You've been putting in a lot of work this year. I see you on my For You page on TikTok, so that's where I've been seeing a lot of Kojo content there, which honestly, like, hilarious. They make me laugh every time. But I just want to talk about how that whole experience has been going for you. It's a different avenue than I would say a lot of like competitive players go for, right? Because you're talking something that might even like, I'm not gonna say like alienate you from other players, but it's
Yeah.
not something that like a lot of players, especially in NA, are super interested in
Mm.
doing. So talk me through how that is with like your
Yeah.
competitive life as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, I realized, so the whole reason I even got into content and I even realized the value of it was when I was first in open and I am.
Hmm.
I think I was playing like Aurora or something. Like, and in my mind, I was like, this guy's insane. Like he's crazy. Like he's got
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Like, and I was scared to play. I was like shaking. And then so I realized, I was like, man, like why am I so scared? Like just because he makes this stuff. So it actually came out of a place where I saw the value of making your name brand, and even in the competitive part of it, like your brand means everything. Your brand, is so important to who you are. And I think a lot of players in NA, they understand that, but they're scared to be vulnerable. Like
Yeah.
I know it's like it's so cringe, right? Like a lot of this stuff is so cringe, but at the end of the day, who cares?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Who cares, man? Like people can judge, they can cringe all they want. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's just like with the competitive. If you're bettering yourself, man, you're giving yourself a way to one, make revenue, make money, but also make a lasting brand that can carry with you throughout Counter-Strike. If you ever want to play another game, do whatever with your life, man, it's just so important. If you have this gift, if you have this ability to compete and play, if you're in that top 0.01% of all of Counter-Strike players, why are you not making a brand for yourself? Why are you not doing something, right? Like in my mind, like it's obvious to me now. It's obvious to me now, but like I know a lot of players just struggle with that because they don't see the value. They don't want to like they don't want to be vulnerable with that because it's hard, man. Especially in the competitive scene, you're not always gonna be winning, right? You're
Hmm.
not always gonna be winning. It's hard to want to make content. It's hard to want to show yourself, like do that stuff when you're losing, right? Like I think it's just so important though. And man, like it's been a grind. Like I realized right away how important it was, and I've been trying to get better and better and better and better because you're gonna fail at first, especially if you're new to the stuff. You're gonna fail. It's with anything in life, right? So you just got to get better every day, and you know. take advantage of the opportunities that come, because if you do content, you're going to get so many more opportunities than a normal player. So, I mean, some of the first teams I joined, I think even Davenport, the only reason these guys even knew who I was from the content I was already doing at that time. And it was nothing. It was nothing
Yeah.
really. But yeah, so I mean, do content, man. You're gonna seem like a better player. You're gonna have more value to orgs. You're gonna have more brand value, and you're gonna be a more attractive player to pick up, even if you are isolating yourself, alienating yourself. You know, players are always gonna judge. They're always gonna judge. People are always gonna judge. But that's with anything. They're gonna judge when you're winning, when you're posting content, when you're being vulnerable, or they're gonna judge when you're not. You know, they're gonna judge when you know you're losing, you know, you suck. Everyone's going to judge you no matter what. So just be yourself and find that value from within. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very, very good point there. I want to talk a little bit about the doors that have been opened as well. You mentioned it, Davenport really like getting good vision on you because of these opportunities. And again, look at how that ended up for you. So, I mean, just talking a little bit about like the current state of NA. Not oftentimes do we talk about like big opportunities, big organizations coming in and like picking up advanced teams, picking up ECL teams. So maybe things are looking up and up with CS2 coming out, but for now, like over the last like 3 or 4 years, making money in the scene has been pretty difficult, just given the fact that you know, orgs aren't really in the scene. So I mean, basically, how has you know, content creation helps you like not only just like continue your career, but you know, make it easier for you to become like a professional player?
Yeah. Man, I mean, we only have 24 hours in every day. We really do. And you know, man, it's hard. And to be honest with like my career and my time, it's hard to make money playing competitively in especially like you said in North America. It really is. Like, you know, I couldn't do what I do right now if I wasn't making content. Content just allows me to take those 24 hours of my day and dedicate more of them to Counter-Strike. I know a lot of CS players in ECL, Advanced, and obviously all the divisions below.
Mhm.
They're working full-time jobs or part-time jobs. You know, that to make money, to make, you know, make it so that they're able to continue their dream. So for me, especially towards my time near the end of Davenport, I kind of realized I was like, man, this is so serious. And I still do realize this is like, this is so serious. If I want to continue my dream, if I want to continue living Counter-Strike and being part of this community, I need to work harder than ever, because if I fail, if I don't succeed in doing this, I'm just gonna have to go back to my job, like to a job to do
Yeah.
this, like just, which is fine, you know, that's totally fine, but it's just taking away from my dream, from my passion. So if you do content, it allows you an avenue to continue your dream and obviously make revenue and make it so that you can live comfortably doing so. But it's not easy at first. You got to put in, you know, months, years of work to even get to that point. And I was fortunate enough to realize that before even all this money issue, like, you know, all this stuff was even a thing. I just did it from, you know, enjoyment at first, you know. So
Yeah.
it's huge, bro. It's huge. You have to do it if you want to, you know, focus, if you want to be able to give your all. I feel like unless you were just blessed enough to be rich, you know.
Yeah.
So which, you know, is the case sometimes.
Right. Yeah. 100%. And moving on from that, like obviously it's been a great opportunity for you. You've been able to build up a nice little brand, like you've been saying. And I just kind of want to talk about like the specifics of making content in the space, because we obviously do have like a lot of content creators, a lot of people that have been, you know, in here for the long run. We've had people, you know, kind of jump in. And we've seen some like great success stories. I think like right now Oni Pixel's one of them, who's been clearly just exploding on the content. But like when it comes to competitive Counter-Strike, I kind of notice that sometimes it can be hard to get the numbers that are required on YouTube to like really build an established channel. You look at a lot of like the demo viewing stuff, and not that they've hit a wall, like it's always that growth, but it's not like exponential growth that some other like categories of YouTube kind of experience. Talk me through like how it has been kind of going through that and like making CS specifically like competitive CS content, but also, you know, like you do some other stuff on the side, but how has that kind of been for you?
Yeah, so I mean, at first I was the same way. I started streaming, but I started posting content on TikTok at first.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the easiest platform to grow on. If anybody wants to grow fast and grow that brand fast, TikTok is going to be your way, just because of the nature of the app and the way it works. You know, that is how you're going to grow at first, especially if you don't have the skills and and anyone can do it, right? Where I started learning on YouTube, I failed at first. Like I had no clue what I was doing. It's intimidating. It's scary. Like how am I gonna make a video that like I was lucky enough for Nard out here to really help me, really
Yeah.
teach me, show me, and he sat there. He literally would tell me, he's like, man, you're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong. So one, don't be afraid to reach out to people again who are better than you that will teach you. But what you really need to do in order to, grow at first is be consistent. You need to be super consistent. But what most people struggle to do, I guess, is like you need to it's great if you want to be in your niche and you want to, do what you want to do, but if you truly want to grow, you have to reach out into the market of people that are, the biggest, like the
Yeah.
biggest audience. Like you have to. I know it sucks because half time you don't want to do that. You want to do exactly what interests you. But if you actually want to grow, you have to make videos that someone who's gold nova, the silver elite will understand. Sometimes we get stuck into trying to get into the super nitty gritty details. And if you don't have an audience at first, no one's going to watch that, or the audience that will watch it is very limited.
Mhm.
If you're making videos designed for ECL players and above, you only have a few hundred, few
Yeah.
thousand people that will even want to watch that and do that. And they're busy. You really have to make content that's going to appeal to the general audience. And then once you build your base, that's when you can start refining it. So that's what I learned personally. I started trying to do the same thing, just posting stuff that only a few people wanted to see, and then I kind of learned. So that's my biggest tip.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was trying to describe is basically when you talk about like some of the top levels of Counter Strike. I know like people who do demo reviews, like Launders is one of them, who talks a lot about like the content space and just CS:GO in general. It's hard to actually figure out the perfect line of like in-depth tactical stuff versus like I mean, something you said earlier, it's like if you're at a top level and you need this information, it's 0.01% of CS players. So you're not aiming for like big targets there, which is really interesting.
Right.
It's one of the struggles that I've found of YouTube. But
That's
yeah, that's a cool way to move past, especially with like the TikTok content that you do there. How do you stay motivated to bring that consistency? At the beginning of the year, I saw that you were trying to do videos every day. I don't know if that's been something you've been able to keep up with, but it's been super impressive, the output that I've seen on your channel. So what's your big motivation with content?
Yeah. So again, the biggest motivation is just if I don't do this, I'm just gonna have to work for somebody else or work
Yeah.
for, you know what I mean? So that's the biggest motivation. But it kind of stemmed from my mentality that I had at Davenport. There was days where I didn't want to do anything. I didn't even want to get out of bed. But I would literally sit there and be like, man, fine. Today's not a good day. Today I'm mentally zero. I'm 1%. But why can't I at least post content? Why can't I post a TikTok video? Why can't I make a tweet, make something that is going to at least further me a little bit? Keep doing that. No matter how low you're feeling, no matter how bad you're feeling, do it. And so I carried that with me through 2023. I was no longer part of Davenport. So what's next for me? It's my own brand. It's my own career. And you need to have goals. Everyone makes goals at the beginning of the year. It's just, what everyone does.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm sick of myself making goals that I'm not going to actually do. So this year I made it a real effort. You need to have a goal that's a quantity. You need to be able to have a specific goal. So for me, it seems impossible, man. 365 videos, a video a day. That seems so hard. That seems so, impossible. And it is. But if you just look at it one day at a time,
Mhm.
you're able to do it. And I mean, we're like 230 days into the year, and I posted 230 videos every single day. It comes with pre-recording. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
going on a trip next week. I'm not going to be here. Well, now I got to make 6 videos today. I got to make whatever. And you don't need to have that same goal. But whatever you do, you need to stick to your word, because if you lie to yourself, if you make false promises to yourself, what's that say about yourself? It says that you don't have that discipline. You don't have that ability to. There's days where I literally have zero ideas. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, man, I got to post something. Like
Mhm.
it's not going to be my best. It literally will not be my best, but at least it will further me that 1%, right? So it's hard, man. It's a grind, but for me personally, like I said, it's like if I don't do this, man, if I don't do it good enough, then I'll just be doing something I hate worse.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So that's really cool. I'm just again super impressed with the consistency that you've been able to output there. And I like your little talk about discipline as well,
Yep.
because I feel like it can transition into the CS aspect of things as we definitely see. But I kind of want to just kind of finish things off by talking about like what is in your mind like your best performing videos, what usually does the best for you when it comes to CS content. So what is something that you personally have targeted or feel like is some of your best work?
Well, okay. So the work that does the best on YouTube and a lot of platforms, it's sad, but it does, is any settings videos.
Okay.
So if you're I hate to
No,
expose,
no, it's
more
good.
competition,
Yeah.
but yeah, settings videos, just because of the nature of how inconsistent people are, and they want to know what high level players use. They want to know, what's best today, what's best tomorrow. Like, settings videos will always do good. You can have no skill and make a settings video. For me, you know, that was what I found is the easiest, is any like setting, sensitivity, that kind of stuff. Um but I mean, in general, whatever you do, what's important to have a high performing video is, it doesn't matter how good your content is. If you don't have a thumbnail that looks appealing and makes people click on YouTube specifically, you're done. It doesn't matter how good your content is. You need that thumbnail that's gonna drive people to click on your video. So I found that, like, for me personally, I pay an editor, I pay, to do these things because it's an investment back into myself.
Yeah.
So if you're starting out and you have that money, I would 100% recommend either do it yourself, invest your time into it, or have somebody that knows how to do it, make those thumbnails and make those. And if you want the cheat code, if you want to learn how to succeed and you're starting from ground zero, look at what similar channels have done. Look at what Kojo did a year ago when he was posting. I don't even think I was posting a year ago, but like 8 months ago. Look at what these channels did when they were first starting and how they succeeded. Don't rip their videos off at all. Don't do that. But get an idea of what works, or you're gonna be lost. You know what I mean? You're gonna be completely lost. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I appreciate it. That kind of reminds me of like the old videos that give me a lot of nostalgia of like the nothing settings from ESEA.
Yep.
If you remember, those are their best performing
Yeah.
videos as well. I remember looking
Right.
back and like they've got
Yep.
like millions of views at this point. So that's an interesting parallel. It's still true to this day, which is pretty cool. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today, man. And I'm really wishing you luck when you head on over to Romania. Best of luck representing USA. I'm looking forward to watching some of your games, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you. I appreciate it.